some people uh, would still have the right to say that up to now, we do not really have true freedom or true uh, independence. Kasi to the present, anyway. So I don't know who put this title. So who was the one responsible for this title? From the group who prepared this. Somehow, uh, uh, they agree that up to now we don't really feel that real freedom or independence, no, that we're always trying to achieve as a people, as a country. So hanggang ngayon, meron pa rin tayong kakulangan. Kung titingnan natin yung title na, meron pa rin mga tao among us, no? sa mga Pilipino na hindi naniniwalang ang Pilipinas ay tunay na malaya or may kalayaan from any foreign power. So it means that the influence, no, is very much present up to now. That is why open-ended yung title, Spanish colonization to the present. Imagine, more than 300 years under Spain, and then more or less 50 years from the Americans, under the Americans, and then 2-3 years under the Japanese during World War II. And then the title would imply that even though the Spaniards, the Americans, or the Japanese are not here anymore, yet we still feel that we are not really independent, no, or free from what we call foreign influence. Or perhaps because of the things that still makes us feel the people in power, not only in government, but also in private institutions, are not really serving our interest, especially the interest of the most Filipinos who are below the poverty line. No? Siguro, yun yung dahilan kung bakit open-ended yung title. Okay? Mas masakit niya. It will be very unfortunate if there are really no foreign power controlling us, and yet the one from among us, or those people who are among us, are the ones really making life difficult for most of us Filipinos. So mas masakit yun. Kasi what do you expect, no? from other people, from other countries? Diba? Ano bang in-expect natin? Siyempre, competition, and they would like to be far more better than we are as a country. That's what you expect from them, and that's natural, no? Because they belong to I don't know, to another country. Okay, and then tayo, nahihirapan tayo dahil yung mga bagay na hindi natin nakukuha, mga serbisyo, pang publiko, pang pribado, nangyayari hanggang sa ngayon. So, open-ended yung title, Spanish colonization to the present. But the question is why? Diba? And then, our conclusion, it's the same thing, no? Going on ever since Spanish colonization. So pareho lang, walang nagbago. Okay? Yun at yun pa rin ang nangyayari. Kailan ba nag-start yung colonization? When was Spanish colonization took place? Was it in 1521 or 1565? So it really started in the year 1565, no, when Miguel Lopez Legazpi founded the city of Cebu as the very first city, no, in the archipelago. And then 7 years after, he founded Manila. Okay? So 1565, no, was the start of Spanish colonization. Ilang taon na yon? Since 1565, ilang taon na ba? How many years? 1565. 35 years plus 25, that's 456 years, di ba? So 456 years na ang nakakaraan. Okay? Since the start of Spanish colonization. It was not in 1521 class. It was not in 15. It was 1565. Kasi 1521, yun yung ano, no? Anong inaalala natin sa 1521? This was when Magellan arrived, no, in the Philippines, in the archipelago. 1521 yun. Pero Spanish colonization really started 1565. Okay? Kaya lang, parang meron tayong notion na nag-start yan ng 1521. Kasi nga, because of what happened in the Battle of Mactan. Between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu. So, akala natin yun yung start ng colonization. Hindi pa yun. After Magellan's expedition, there were 4 more expeditions, no? Though unsuccessful. And the most successful was the one ventured by Miguel Lopez Legazpi in 1565. Yun na yung start talaga ng Spanish colonization sa Pilipinas. 1565. So, 456 years. 456, magandang number, di ba? At least hindi na siya 1, 2, 3, di ba? 4, 5, 6 na. 1, 2, 3, di ba? Kapag in local parlance, di ba? Yung 1, 2, 3, parang naloko tayo, di ba? No, 1, 2, 3. O, pwede naman karera, di ba? 1, 2, 3. Pwede rin naman kumukuha ka ng picture, di ba? 1, 2, 3, di ba? Okay, no? Maganda yan. 4, 5, 6 na. 4, 5, 6. So, what are we to talk about 4, 5, 6? 456 years of colonization up to now. Kasi open-ended, present. So, ibig sabihin, up to now, somehow, we are not yet a free country, a free people. Somehow, yung mga those who agree, no, to put this title, somehow, no, we're thinking that our hands, no, are still tied. Okay? Hindi pa tayo tunay na malaya up to now. Bakit ba? Wala na nga yung mga foreigner, di ba? Wala na nga foreign control, di ba? That is why we celebrated June 12 Independence Day. Wala na yung foreign control. Sino naman ang may control ngayon sa mga ordinaryong Pilipino? So, sino? So, this will bring us dito sa lesson number 1. Ano ba sinasabi sa lesson number 1? Sabi sa lesson number 1, chronicles about the 16th century Philippines, between 1500s, 1565 onwards. No? Then, of course, the first voyage around the world and customs of the Tagalogs. So, yung open-ended question will bring us to lesson number 1. Bakit? Bakit kaya yun ang inilagay na title ng mga nag-prepare ng instructional material? Bakit siya open-ended? Meron pa bang control Sino ngayon ang may control? Maalamin natin dito sa Chronicles about the 16th century Filipinos, the first voyage around the world. So normally, yung titingnan natin dyan, 1565 onwards, wala dyan yung 1521, di ba? Wala dyan yung 1521. Pero, makikita mo sa title, di ba? Kung yung Spanish colonization started in 1565, wala yung 1521. Pero sa title, makikita mo siya, the first voyage around the world and the customs of the Tagalog. So nililinaw ko lang class na yung Chronicles about the 16th century Filipinos, if we are to talk about Spanish colonization, 1565. If we are to talk about when was the first time the natives of the archipelago Philippines, gets to know the Europeans. Ano pa yun, no? Way back 1565. So, doon papasok yung 1521, di ba? Nililinaw ko lang sa inyo. Okay? So, in 1521, we would normally think of what happened between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu. Okay? So, normally, yung first voyage around the world, no? Normally, of course, no, it's important for us. No? We became part of the things that happened, no? In between the period, no, when Magellan and his crew left Spain, sailing westward, and then before they were able to return to Spain, no, the point of origin. So titingnan natin na bahagi ang Pilipinas, no, Magellan's expedition. Okay? Ganun din naman yung mundo, no? Especially in Spain. If you have to go to Spain, no, kung pupunta kayo sa Spain, makikita nyo sa marker, no, talagang they would really give importance, no, to the first circumnavigation of the earth, no, the globe. Napakahalaga sa kanila nung feat na yun, no, nung achievement na yun. So that is why, nasan si Magellan? They only devoted few words, no, about Magellan. So the main thing for them was the circumnavigation of the earth. No? That was a great achievement, no, for the Europeans. Yung kauna-unahang pagkakataon, no, na naikot ng isang expedition yung mundo, napakahalaga sa kanila. At secondary na lang yung kung sino ba, si Magellan. Pero sa atin, sa mga Pilipino, palagi nating naiisip si Magellan. Bakit? Dahil sa nangyari sa Battle of Mactan. The battle, no, between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu, between the two groups. Yun ang tinitingnan natin palagi. So sa atin, mahalaga yun. Yung bagay na yun. Tinitingnan natin siya na victory against a foreign invader, no, so to speak. Kasi European si Magellan. Then some people would say the first victory of an Asian against a foreign power. Yan. Ganun ang tingin natin doon. Pero if we are to look deeper, ano ba ang pwede natin makita? Yung sagot, yung sa title na situation to the present, open-ended. Bakit natin pwedeng makita? Dun sa nangyari, no, between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu, ano ba yung mga what are the events, no, that happened prior to the battle between the two of them? Ano ba ang mga pangyayari na pinag-ugatan, no, ng labanan ng Magellan at Lapu-Lapu? Ano ba yung dahilan? Ito yung dahilan, class. Nasagot dun sa open-ended title, Spanish colonization to the present. Ang sagot dyan, it's the political conflict. Okay, political competition among our leaders or among our elites. Yan. So, sino ba yung mga elite na tinatawag? Sila yung mga may kaya o mayayaman, no? Na nasa mas mataas na antas ng lipunan. Okay? May kaya eh. Mayaman eh. So, yung may kaya, you can consider them also elite. Kasi yung mga mahalagang tao sa lipunang Pilipino, di ba? Noong mga panahon na yun, for example, Humabon, Lapu-Lapu, mga may kaya sila. Or perhaps, they're rich, no? They belong to rich families, no? Noong mga panahon na yun, kung hindi natin tatawagin may kaya. Or sila yung mga, with means, no? Kumbaga, sila yung mga may kaya talaga sa lipunan. Unang-una, sila ay leader, no, ng mga community nila. They were the leaders of their communities. Lapu-Lapu, Mactan, of course, Humabon, much larger community that he was the leader in Cebu. Okay? So, mga may kaya ito, mayaman. Kung hindi natin sila tatawagin may kaya, di mayaman. O, pero kung hindi naman sila mayaman, hindi may kaya. Diba? Ibig sabihin na with means. At dahil sila ay leader, sa lipunan ginagalawan nila ng mga panahon na yun, they really belong to the top. No? Nandun sila sa taas. Leader sila. No? So, may kaya o mayamang leader ng mga panahon. So, it was before Magellan and Lapu-Lapu, it was actually between Humabon and Lapu-Lapu. So Lapu-Lapu would not subscribe to the wishes of Raja Humabon. Ayaw niyang magpasakop kay Raja Humabon. Okay? So what happened afterwards? It coincided with the arrival of Magellan. Diba? Yung ganong kondisyon between Humabon and Lapu-Lapu, biglang may dumating na foreigner. No? Biglang dumating yung Espanya. Okay? Of course, si Magellan naman Portuguese, but still, he was serving during that time under the flag of Spain, under the Spanish flag. So, you can consider that Spanish forces. So, merong hindi magandang relasyon between Humabon and Lapu-Lapu. And then here comes Magellan. Third party, Magellan. So, anong ginawa ni Raja Humabon? When he acceded to Magellan, he tried to use Magellan. Or he provoked Magellan in actually, having this battle with Lapu-Lapu. So it was a provocation on the part of Raja Humabon, on Magellan, that made Magellan decide to actually attack Lapu-Lapu in Mactan Island. So yun yung nangyari. So at first, it was a local conflict na nagkaroon ng international flavor because of Magellan. Okay, pumasok sa eksena si Magellan. Enter Magellan into the picture, into the frame. Kaya tinitingnan natin siya na later on, yung pangyayari sa Battle of Mactan is the locals of Mactan or the native of this archipelago actually repelled what could be an invasion on the part of Magellan and his troops. So against a foreign power. And that is why some historians would say, yes, Lapu-Lapu is our first Filipino hero. But some would disagree. And, no, kasi ano lang naman yan, local conflict lang yan at first. At saka at that time, wala pa naman Pilipinas. Hindi pa naman Pilipino ang mga tawag sa mga inhabitants ng Pilipinas, ng archipelago. So meron din silang point. But then again, we would like to commemorate Battle of Mactan as as an event, no, wherein a local warrior who was foreign power led by Magellan. So ganoon natin siya tinitingnan. Pero bago yun, meron munang conflict between Humabon and Lapu-Lapu. So that was the answer for the open-ended title, Spanish colonization. Kasi up to now, ang laro pa rin, no, sa ating lipunan ay yung may kaya at mayaman na nasa poder laban sa may kaya at mayaman na wala sa poder o kapangyarihan. So again, the fight is between those who are in power, those with means, and those who are rich, no? Who are in power, and those who are with means, or rich people who are not in power. Yun yung labanan. Now, nasan yung mahirap? Nakikita ba natin? Sasabihin lang ng mga those who are not in power na may kaya with means at mayaman na they represent the people. Yun ang sasabihin nila. They represent the people. Eh, normally, yun ang nangyayari. Pero pati di naman yung nasa poder, kapangyarihan, sasabihin din nila, no, we represent the people. So lahat sila sinasabi nila. We are the representatives of the people. So pareho. Kaya lang, problema natin, bakit may ganong feeling na up to now, colonized pa rin tayo? Because we do not really feel that the services that the type or the kind of services, no, that we want them to give to us, no, are not in their agenda, no, when it comes to a political conflict or political competition. Wala doon sa mga agenda nila yung tungkol sa mga mahihirap. Eh ano nandun? Siyempre, yung interest nila. Okay? What about the interest of the ordinary people? Okay? So sasabihin nila, makapangyarihan ng mga ordinaryong tao. Pero nasan yung kapangyarihan? Kapangyarihan, nandun lang sa time na boboto ang mga tao. Pati sila naman, bumoboto rin naman. So ang sinasabi sa atin, nandun yung kapangyarihan natin sa boto natin. Kaya bumoto tayo. Actually, boboto naman tayo. And then later on, bibilangin nila yung boto. And then when everything is over, tapos na yung botohan, nasa kapangyarihan na yung mga tao maraming boto. Siyempre, sila yung maraming boto. So what about the promises that they've made to the people? So ngayon, maraming pangako. Ngayon, maraming pangako. Tatanggalin ko yung korupsyon sa gobyerno. Tatanggalin ko yung mga korap sa pamahalaan. Hindi ko papayagan yung mga matataas na presyo ng bilihin. Hindi ko papayagan yung pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina. Okay? Hindi ko papayagan yung mga kontratang hindi pabor sa gobyerno o sa mga tao, sa pamahalaan. Magtatayo ako ng maraming bahay. Kakaroon na ng mga bahay yung mahihirap. Okay? Gagawa tayo ng maraming trabaho para sa mga Pilipino. Okay? Pabababain natin yung presyo ng basic commodities. Tutulungan natin ang mga tao pagdating sa kanilang mga kalusugan, sa health. Nasa na yun. Katapos silang manalo. So, class, ito siguro yung dahilan kung bakit open-ended siya. And then somehow, those who have this title of chapter believe that somehow we are still being colonized. But the sad part here is that we are being colonized by our own leaders in government and private institutions. So ito yung sagot. Ever since the political conflict and competition is just between those who have the means and are wealthy but in power, and those who have the means and are wealthy but not in power. So yun yung labanan. Okay? Yung mahirap, nasa sideline. Boto lang kayo. Ganun lang. Boto lang tayo. Boto lang tayo. After that, diba, yung power nasa kanila. Wala namang talagang kapangyarihan yung ordinaryong tao. After the voting ended. Wala na. Nasa kanila yung kapangyarihan. So, we will be putting them in powerful positions. National government, local government. Yeah, tayo yung boto natin. Nandun, kabilang. Pero when it comes to services, later on na lang. Part lang naman ng campaign. So, what we're looking is, of course, affordable prices when it comes to basic goods that we need, basic commodities. Sana man lang affordable. O mas better, mas mura. Hindi yung mapapamura. Kundi mas mura. Okay? What else? Healthcare system. Better healthcare system. In other countries, will not have to worry about medicines and of course money that you have to deposit first, before they would attend to you, diba? To your loved ones sa hospital. Hindi ganun. No? Hindi ka na mag-aalala sa ibabayad mo sa gamot. Ang tagal na di ba? Nasaan yung ganong mga bagay na dapat meron sa serbisyo ng pamahalaan at pribadong institusyon. So, hindi lang yan pamahalaan class, pati pribado. Kasi who knows? Baka kaya wala tayong magandang healthcare system. Yung pribado nagre-resist. Baka yung mga pribado ang nagre-resist ng magandang healthcare system. Hindi ang pamahalaan. Okay? Ayun ang ating assumption. O kaya walang magandang healthcare system. Bakit? Ano ba yung mga makakatulong sa atin? May mga health nakakatulong naman, pero siyempre ilang percentage lang yung mababawas sa gastos. Tapos may mga card, di ba? Yung mga private institutions, nag-offer sila ng card. Yung mga hospital, private, nag-offer din ng card. Tapos maraming mga clinic sa mga mall, di ba? Ang dami, di ba? So, naging business yung healthcare system natin. Sino ba ang involved sa business? Hindi yung private institution. At, siyempre, kung nagre-resist sila, merong mga tao sa pamahalaan kasama nila. Yun sa kanilang business. So, yun yung hinahanap natin. So that we will be protected when it comes to our interest. Things that will really satisfy us as part of this country or as part of this group of people bilang isang Pilipino. So yun yung hinahanap natin. Okay? Makikita natin. Kaya naman siguro, nasa isip nila, hanggang ngayon, colonized pa rin naman tayo. Kaya nga ibang author, aborted nation, hindi natuloy yung pagiging bansa ng Pilipinas. Merong ganong pananaw. So hanggang ngayon, nasasako pa rin tayo ng ibang bansa. O meron pa rin foreign influence hanggang ngayon. Yung mga thinking natin. So that is why Spanish colonization to the present. E bakit? Yan ay ugatin natin. Doon sa nangyari between Humabon and Lapu-Lapu. Okay? And then later on, nagkaroon ng international play. Magellan against Lapu-Lapu. Pero ang pinag-ugatan nun ay local conflict. So, bakit colonized? Kasi yung sa local conflict natin, up to now, yung mga nasa poder, sila pa rin naman yung naglalaban lang. So, ganun lang, nagpapalitan lang sila. Baka later on, after this administration, yung opposition, na dating nasa kapangyarihan na rin naman. Okay? Natalo nga lang dito. And then, after that, yung administrasyon naman ngayon na nasa kapangyarihan, sila naman yung magiging oposisyon. And then later on, i-challenge na naman nila yung papalit na administrasyon kung sakasakali. O sila na naman uupo kung mananalo sila. So it was just a cycle ever since from the local conflict of Humabon and Lapu-Lapu among the elites. No? Those who have the means and the haves who are in power against those who have the means and the haves who are not in power. That's the situation. Okay? So, yun yung titingnan natin na mas malalim pa. Dun sa first voyage around the world. So, normally, nami-miss out natin yung the events leading to Magellan and the expedition. Okay? Ano ba yung kondisyon ng mga may kapangyarihan nasa poder bago nagkaroon ng labanan sa battle sa Mactan? Yung battle o Mactan between Magellan and Lapu-Lapu. Pareho ba? So, yun yung tinitingnan. And then of course, yung customs of the Tagalogs. Palagay dyan, first voyage around the world, the customs of the Tagalogs. Kasi clash yung Tagalog. Kapag sinabi natin Tagalog, linguistic group. Diba? Kaya lang, sa history, kung babasahin natin ang kasaysayan, there's also a time na during Bonifacio, na nagtatag siya ng isa pang samahan, yung Haring Bayang Katagalugan. Bonifacio used Katagalugan not only to refer to the Tagalogs, no, to the Tagalog linguistic group, but he's in a way, incorporating other linguistic groups, no? Parang he's lumping all the linguistic groups into one, and he called it Katagalugan. Okay? So, customs of the Tagalogs. So, dito, babanggitin yung costume, yung behavior, yung beliefs, no? Nung mga sinaunang Pilipino na tinutukoy nga rito, mga Tagalog. No? Tagalog, sabi natin dyan, kung linguistic group yan, at tingin natin dyan, ay yung mga tao na they live by the rivers. Mga taga-ilog. No? Normally, yan, yung kanilang ethical distinction, or identification, no? Separate from the other linguistic groups. Pero dito, pinapaliwanag ko sa inyo na ito ay hindi lang yung Tagalog linguistic group, kundi yung kabuuan ng mga inhabitant, no? During the time of Bonifacio. Sa yun yung ginawa. Yun yung babanggitin dito. Okay? So, there you go. Yung lesson 1. Chronicles about the 16th century Filipinos, first voyage around the world, and the customs of the Tagalogs. So, sabi ko sa inyo, basahin nyo na yung chapter 2, yung lahat ng chapter 2 na yan. So, I'm sure na nabasa nyo na yung karamihan dyan. At kung meron na lang kayong mga tanong, you can just ask questions while we are having our discussion. No? So we cannot really actually take on all the details of all these 6 lessons that we have here in chapter 2. Hindi na natin yan ma-discuss talaga ng talagang detalyado. So kung may mga tanong kayo, tanong nyo na lang sa akin. No? So dyan sa lesson 1, ayan, so meron ba kayong mga question doon sa nabanggit ko na? So I have given you a brief summary and of course the way we have to understand lesson 1. Yung title niya, Chronicles about the 16th century Filipinos, first voyage around the world, the customs of the Tagalog. Do you have any question for us? May tanong ba? Reaction, comment, or something you have to share? Pwede naman po. Huwag matakot kung meron kayong mga reaction or pag-usapan natin kung ano man yung mga sa tingin nyo ay you do not really agree. Maganda na mapag-usapan natin yan para mas maliwanagan natin. Class? Anyone? Wala ba? Hello? Ito lang yata rin.
Okay na po, sir.
Okay, walang problema. O sige, tutuloy natin sa number 2, lesson number 2. Ano ba yung lesson number 2? Sabi dyan, title, Kartilya ng Katipunan, di ba? Kartilya ng Katipunan. Kartilya, alam ko niyan, bata ako yung ginagamit ng mga construction worker, di ba? Kapag meron silang ginagawang bahay, they would use it to transfer, for example, construction materials. Sinasakay doon yung graba, buhangin, ano pa, hollow blocks, di ba, mga kahoy, pwede nilang gamitin. Tawag doon, kartilya lang po eh. No? Pero yung kartilya dito binabanggit, ito yung guideline. Yung rules and guidelines to be followed by all the members of the organization. So they will have to subscribe or follow whatever is written in their, actually, constitution, parang saligang batas yan na kailangan sundin ng lahat ng miyembro o kasapi ng organisasyon o samahan. Yun yung kartilya na katipunan. By the way, class, mayroong 3 kartilya na isulat, yung guideline po, for the organization. The one was drafted by Apolinary Mabini, and then another one was drafted by Andres Bonifacio, and then finally, the one that was written by Emilio Jacinto. And the organization, the Katipunan, agreed to follow the one, or adopt, the one that was written by Emilio Jacinto. Kaya yung ginagamit na kartilya ng Katipunan, yun ay isinulat ni Emilio Jacinto. Okay? Si Emilio Jacinto ay editor ng Kalayaan, yung dyaryo naman ng Katipunan. Parang organ naman nila. Ito naman yung, parang yung kung ang La Liga Pilipina ay merong, ang propaganda movement ay merong La Solidaridad na dyaryo or journal. Yung Katipunan naman ay merong Kalayaan. Yun naman yung journal nila. Or parang pahayagan nila. Yun. So, it was Emilio Jacinto who was the editor of Kalayaan. And aside from that, Bonifacio was, Emilio Jacinto was the protege of Andres Bonifacio. So, Bonifacio was grooming Emilio Jacinto later on, most probably replace him as the leader of the Katipunan. So, siya yung protege ni Andres Bonifacio. Tintrain siya ni Andres Bonifacio. So, yun, kartilya. Kartilya, if you are to read, basahin nyo, dyan, meron dyan, nakapaloob sa instructional material mo. Basahin nyo yung mga provision doon, na yung mga panuntunan ng mga kasapi, members ng samahan. Kapag pinasa nyo siya, malalim yung mga ginamit na salita. And then, another thing that you will notice is the appeal to the emotion. So, ano ba yung appeal to the emotion? Ginamitan ni Jacinto ng halimbawa, bawa, yung isang provision, halimbawa, meron dyan, kung gusto mong igalang mo, no, yung mga kababaihan, ang katulad ng paggalang mo, no, sa iyong ina o mga kapatid na babae. Kurang ganun. So, inilalagay yung, yung ginagamit, no, or inilalagay yung ibang kababaihan, membro ng pamilya, para gamitin, ito yung leverage, no, para pasunodin yung isang kasapi o miyembro. So, kasi, di ba, kung concerned ka nga naman sa nanay mo, sa kapatid mong babae, so, dapat gawin din yung concern mo, no, sa ibang babae na hindi mo naman kaano-ano. So, yun yung appeal to the emotion na tinatawag natin. Ginagamit yung ganong pamamaraan para mas maitatak, no, so that they could really impress upon the mind, no, of the member the point that they were making in that particular guideline or provision. So, ganun yung ginawa. Yun yung mapapansin. Okay? So, yan yung sa kartilya ng katipunan. Okay. Plus, magtanong lang kayo, no? Meron kayong mga tanong. I-open nyo lang yung mic. And then lesson number 3 naman. Lesson number 3, ito yung the Declaration of Philippine Independence. We already talked about this, diba? Comprehensively. During the Independence Day, diba? No, not during the, but after, after Independence, after we celebrated Independence Day, June 12. No? So, napag-usapan na natin yan. Sabi natin, diba? Yung kalayaan ay hindi hinihingi, hindi rin siya ibinibigay. Siya ay dinedeklara. Okay? So, maganda, no? Yung ginawa niya, Aguinaldo dyan. Bilang Pilipino, dineklara niya yung kalayaan ng bansa. Kaya lang, kapag binasa mo naman yung Declaration of Philippine Independence class, nakikita mo ron na yung kalayaan, yung declaration niya, no, ay it was made, no? Parang it was made under ang nakalagay doon, under the great North American nation, the United States, no? Yun yung nakalagay doon. So parang humingi parang dineklara ni Aguinaldo yung kalayaan natin na merong bas-bas ng Estados Unidos. Parang gano'n. No? O kaya lang, nilagay lang ni Aguinaldo yun kasi nga, he was having problem na, no, with the Americans, no? When he declared the Philippine independence. Parang ang ginawa rito ng Aguinaldo is so that he put those words, no, in the Declaration of Independence so that they or he, no, would not antagonize the Americans. Parang gano'n. So inilagay niya. So kaya lang, for other people, hiningi mo pala yung bas-bas ng Amerika. So hindi yan tunay na kalayaan. That is why it remains an issue, no, up to now. July 4 talaga. Hindi, June 12, hindi July. Merong ganyang problema. O kaya lang, pinaliwanag na natin yan na napakahalaga na isang Pilipino ang nagdeklara ng kalayaan. So, yung Declaration of Independence mismo ang pinakamahalaga doon. So, with or without the blessing, no, of one particular country, dineklara ni Aguinaldo yung kalayaan ng bansa sa Declaration of Philippine Independence. And then after that, lesson 4, the Malolos Constitution and the First Republic. So, Malolos Constitution, saan to? Sa Baraswain Church, no? Ano yung Constitution? Saligang batas, sa sinulat. O, saan pattern yung saligang batas natin? Saan ba kinuha yung sample, no, ng saligang batas ng Pilipinas? Pattern din ito after other countries, no? Specifically sa Cuba. So, kasi nga, yung Cuba, no, was having a revolution against Spain and was, successful, no, in doing so. No? Naging malaya ang Cuba, no, mula sa kamay ng Espanya. So, yung mga ibang bagay na nakapalong sa Declaration of Independence, sa konstitusyon natin, ay halaw din, no, or based, no, from the experience of other countries, of other people, na uh, our leaders, no, try to incorporate, no, in in the Constitution, and of course dun sa presentation, yung preparation ng establishment of the first republic in Asia. So kinuha rin, no, yung mga ibang halimbawa niya sa ibang bansa. Malolos Constitution. So nagkaroon ng mga assembly, no, nagkaroon ng assembly, and then representation coming from different parts of the country, no, nagkaroon ng mga representative, no, kinatawan. And then of course, finally, since meron na tayong saligang batas, meron ng mga pamahalaan na pattern din naman sa other democracies, no? Just like the United States, France, Cuba, other countries, ayun, no? Ito yung Malolos Constitution and the First Republic. Now, baka, sir, baka tanungin nyo, ano po ba pagkakaiba ng Tejeros Convention sa Declaration of Philippine Independence, and then of course sa Malolos Constitution, the First Republic. No? But sa Tejeros Convention kasi again, no, we will go back to the political competition between Bonifacio and Aguinaldo. No? The conflict, no, between our two leaders, no, at the time. The conflict between the haves, no, and the have-nots who are in power, no, or competing for power. So babalik tayo doon, di ba? Yun yung nangyari sa Tejeros Convention, 1997. Okay? So at that time, who will lead the revolution? Pagdating ng Declaration of Philippine Independence, Bonifacio was already out of the picture. Wala na siya, eliminated na. So it was Aguinaldo, no, to declare the Philippine independence. As if telling other countries that we are a free country. No? He was announcing that the Philippines is a free country. The Filipino people are a free people. Yun yung gustong sabihin ni Aguinaldo sa Declaration of Philippine. And then finally, sa Malolos Constitution, ito na yung our leaders, of course, headed by Aguinaldo, would apply, the same pattern or the same model that other democracies, democratic countries would implement para tanggapin, para i-recognize na talaga ng Pilipinas ay isang pamahalaan, isang bansa na mayroong pamahalaan. Malinaw na layunin bilang isang bansa. Yun yung nangyari sa Malolos Constitution and the First Republic. And of course, lesson number 5, visual sources yan, meaning to say mga photograph yan na pwedeng gamitin sa, we can use photographs in order for us to explain our historical past. No? Ginagamit natin yan. In fact, sa mga, kung tayo ay face-to-face, or kahit dito lang, no, kung inaalaw kayong mag-report, you will have to prepare PowerPoint presentation, di ba? And then gagamit kayo ng mga photograph, di ba? Para lang mas masundan ng mga ibang estudyante na bahagi ng klase, yung sinasabi nila. So it's okay to use photograph. And photograph is also very much accepted as historical evidence of what happened in our history. Yan. Then lesson 6, Raiders of the Sulu Sea. Ayan naman ay so you will have to watch documentary film, Raiders of the Sulu Sea. Yan, you will have to analyze the historical background of this film based from the history of our brothers in Mindanao. Ayan, so titingnan niyo. Sa ano nga pala, merong example sa 5 visual sources. Merong halimbawa Chapter 2. Yan, chapter 2. Tingnan natin. Yan. Kita nyo, class? Kita nyo ba? Picture? Nakikita nyo?
Yes po.
So, yan ay, ito yung halimbawa ng sa visual sources. Bawa ito, PUP to class. Alam niyo yung PUP, originally 2-story lang siya. 2-story high lang siya. 2 palapag lang siya. Ground floor tsaka yung second floor. Pero dito mapapansin nyo, meron na siyang 3rd floor, diba? And then yung 4th floor, ginagawa na rin. So yan ay north wing at saka west wing, kung papasok kayo ng PUP. Tapos yung parang lake dyan, yan yung lagoon na nasa loob ng Intramuros. So, hindi nakalagay dito kung anong taon ito, pero basically, we can trace, because of this picture, we can trace, what year, this photo was taken, at ano yung mga development in PUP during that time, na tinatayo pa lang yung pang-apat na palapa, 4th floor. So, ito yung nakuha sa PUP memorabilia. Pero sana nakalagay yung taon, para malinaw. Hindi na natin kailangan pang mag-research, di ba? Kung kailan pa yung panahon na to na tinatayo pa lang yung 4th floor. So, by means of this photograph, nakikita natin yung kasaysayan ng PUP. So, ganun din, kung gagamit tayo ng photograph, nakikita natin na yung mga bagay-bagay na nangyari noong panahon na kinunan, yung isang lugar o yung tao. Then you will also notice, halimbawa, yung mga detalye sa picture, di ba? Tulad nito, yung lake, di ba? Yung lagoon dati. Tapos may mga halaman dyan, na mga kangkong. Tapos actually, ang PUP ay dating kangkungan, And then merong mga talahiban din, ang PUP. Swampy area ang PUP at the time kasi napakalapit nga niya sa Pasig River. Kaya nga itong lagoon na ito, dati meron siyang meron siyang parang daanan ng tubig papunta sa Pasig River. Kaya hindi stagnant dati ang tubig. Ngayon stagnant na Hindi na napapalitan yung tubig. Unless of course umulan. Hindi nagsisip in na lang yung tubig. Hindi na siya lumalabas sa Pasig. So hindi napapalitan yung tubig. Unlike before, na meron pa siyang parang kanal, yung natural na kanal, going into this lake, Pasig River, yung tubig papasok, and lalabas ulit. Pag high tide, papasok yung tubig sa lagoon, pag low tide naman lalabas. So, ngayon, stagnant na yung tubig. So, yung mga bagay na ganito na pag-uusapan natin, it adds knowledge to our, it adds information to our knowledge, kumbaga, by means of using photograph. So, ito yung example class, So, yung mga lumang photograph, nakikita natin yung kasaysayan natin. Okay. So, there you go. Do you have questions, class? Lessons 1 to 6? Lessons 1 to 6? Anyone? May mga tanong pa ba? Next meeting ay pupuntahan natin yung ilang mga detalye. Okay? Na mahalaga rin detalye from lessons 1 to 6. Kasi yan, parang overview lang tayo. Basically, meron na kayong idea, kung ano ba yung topic. Kung ano ba yung pag-uusapan dyan sa mga topic. Yan. So, binigyan ko lang kayo ng mga review. Then, later on, we will go into the specifics. Yung ilan lang sa mga detalye. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, hindi man natin na ma-discuss lahat ng detalye. Kasi mahaba yan. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, please open your cameras for our screenshot.